Hello everyone, I am Yasraj Soda and today I am making my presentation on the post-colonial reading of the J.M. Coetze's 4. This is my personal information. My research question is how does the J.M. Coetze's 4 critique colonial power dynamics, address silences in storytelling and challenge the traditional representation of race, gender and authority. Hypothesis is J.M. Coetze's 4 reimagines the storytelling as a tool to question power, authority and representation, highlighting how narratives shape history and identity while exposing the enduring impacts of the colonialism and marginalization. First of all, the novel Four, it was written by J.M. Coetzee, language is English, publisher is Viking Press. It was published in 1986 and it was published in South Africa. What is post-colonialism? It is a theory that explores the legacy of Western colonialism and reclaims the agency of as a colonized, addresses the ongoing global domination, highlight the representation, persistence of the colonial influence on the modern world, challenges Eurocentric narratives and investigates diverse modernities. That what types of colonial power has represent in the colonized world. The critics the Enlightenment dual legacy in the progress of imperialism. The key figures of the post-colonial theory was the post-colonialism. It is Franz Fanon, Edward Said, Gayatri Spivak, and Homike Baba. Now, Coetze's approach to post-colonial writing, it is different from the empire's writing back. How it is different because he's not only writing about how the colonized world has represented, but he is also mentioning the role of the women that are marginalized, the difference between the white and black, slave and this master, that type of things also comes into his novel. It is focused on the structure of colonial discourse over the competing narratives, exploration of the creating of the colonial text, interrogating power, authorship and textual authority. Now it is also the authority who is writing who has the power to write something on literature, who has the authorship of the writing something. So that is also discussed in this. Use the intertextuality of examine the colonial narratives. As we know, it is the main characters like Crusoe and Friday from the original novel Robinson Crusoe. So that we find that post-colonial critique of the through the metafiction challenge the simple division between colonized and colonizer, challenging the authorial authority, in which we can find when Susan wants to tell her story. Mr. Poe says that you have to tell the story by that way only, and Friday doesn't have any tongue or any voice to tell his story. Deconstruction of the authorial power and control over the story. It is ownership and the true story. Which is the true story? We never know. What happened with the Friday? What happened to the Susan? We never know what is right, what is wrong. In the last chapter, we also find that there is a unnamed narrator. We don't know that who is author, writing the story or narrating the story. So that type of things is also come in that. It is the narrative is also seen as the problematic. Whatever the authorship is there, it is also seen in the problematic, complex relation between writer and the text, and it is also the myth of independent, powerful author. It's like, is the author is really powerful? It has a right to write whatever he or she wants. So that type of things are there. The silencing of the subaltern, like subaltern theory, as we have discussed, it was from the Gayatri Chakravarti Spivak, and in the Friday's character, we find that he is as a subaltern character. We also find that he doesn't have a tongue, he doesn't have his own voice, so his voice is silenced. And mutinous also represent the post-colonial theory. It is explored the power dynamics and colonial relationship between master and slave, question the ethical and political challenges representing the subaltern, highlights the ambiguity and giving the voice to the colonized. It questions the voice of the subaltern. So James Coetzee has tried to give voice to the subaltern and tries to find out what is wrong in the writing of the Robinson Crusoe and many other great literature that is considered right now. A representation of the power dynamics, as we know, like novels has the power dynamics of master and slave. Like master is the Crusoe and the slave is this Friday. So that we find who can write the story, that we also find. It also addresses gender, race, and colonial oppression tied with the representation and authority. It is also the links of the themes of representation and the power of the poets' earlier work. Whatever the earlier work, like the barbarians and that type of work, is also represented in this novel. Feminist deconstruction of the struggle of represented. As we know, the in the Coexist novel, the protagonist is the Susan Barton. Instead of in the earlier novel, it was Robinson Crusoe. So he also Coexist also tries to give the voice to the Susan, but can he was able to do that voice to the Susan? That is also the questionable. That is Susan is able to write his own story, write her own story in her own voice. So that type of question is also asked in the novel. It is also about the gender, race, and power in colonial and post-colonial narratives, and it also shows the limits of feminist resistance. In the conclusion, we can say that Foe challenges dominant voices and explores the silence in the stories. It raises the question about who gets to tell the story. We learn how literature critiques the colonial power and dynamics. In the latter part, the novel connects the gender, race, and colonial histories. It encourages the critical thinking about unsolved issues, who rethinks the history and storytelling, and we understand the responsibility of narratives in shaping the perspective. I will take the help of Claude AI and ChatGPT for organize my content and checking the grammar. These slides I have taken from the SlidesGo. These are my references. Thank you. Now I am open for the questions.
Yes, my question is, how does poetry's use of intertextuality critique the language of power and authority in colonial and post-colonial contexts?
Yes. Intertextuality, we find that it is the writing the sequence of Robinson Crusoe. So the base is Robinson Crusoe, in which we find the telling of the story, or the protagonist of the story is Robinson Crusoe. How he teaches his language, the all types of behavior, what should be done, how should be done to the Friday. So that colonialism or colonial mindset can be represented in that work of Robinson Crusoe. Now, while J.M. Coetzee writing this story, he is cutting down the tongue of the Friday. In the Robinson Crusoe, the Friday was speaking. But in this, he represent that through this narrative, we have cut down the voice of the subaltern, the marginalized people. So that we find, and power it is also is shown. Like who is the powerful character in here? So, like in the Robinson Crusoe novel, we find the Robinson has the power to control the dynamics or control the what happens on that island. And in this, we find the power is on the author, the Daniel Foe, that how to write the story, what to write. So that we find that Susan and Daniel, Daniel Foe is trying to write the story about the Friday, but Friday doesn't have the speak. So it itself says that can the subaltern speak? Though the answer is also given in the post-colonial context that no, subaltern cannot. So that can be seen in the novel. Yes. Next question.
Yes, how does Poe deconstruct authorship in colonialism by depicting the power structure between Susan Barton and Poe? And what does this suggest about who controls stories in history?
Yes. In the Robinson Crusoe, in the one of the interview, J.M. Coetzee also said that when he was younger, he used to read the novel of Robinson Crusoe. But when he grown up and studied the world, then again when he reread this Robinson Crusoe, he gets to know about so many faults that are considered that was missing out from the very beginning. So in the story Robinson Crusoe, as we know, it is very famous story. It is very famous novel in the literature. But what type of things are missing? What type of voices are missing is there. So that is also there. And the authorship we find when Daniel Defoe, the original writer of the Robinson Crusoe, when he was writing the story, how he is represented Robinson Crusoe. Even on the island, he is also doing that colonialism. He is colonizing the Friday, even on the island where the society does not exist. So that is the power also shown. And Susan Barton in the Foe, in this James Coetzee's Foe novel, we find that when Susan says that I want to only tell the story whatever happened on the island and with the Friday and Robinson Crusoe, then Daniel Foe says that the character in the Foe, Daniel, that he says that no, you have to tell the story which happened to you before you come to the island. So he controls the dynamics of what should be written or what should not be written in the story. So that type of control of over the stories and histories that being written, the control it is fine in the novel. So that is from my side. Thank you.